I'm going to share with you some updates that came out over the last couple weeks with some of my favorite tools. One is Thrive. The company is called Thrive Themes. They make not only themes, but some really great plugins for lead generation and a lot of tools, plugins such as, I kind of went over there really quickly. They have a page builder for you to build your own landing pages. They have a quiz product where you can build a quiz on your website. They have a headline analyzer. They have a way to generate and display testimonials from your clients and customers. And my personal favorite, the one we're going to talk about today, is called Thrive Leads. And I am going to go ahead and go over this again, where we have the Thrive dashboard. And that's kind of our starting point. And as I mentioned, in my situation, these are the 4 tools that I have installed on my site. And the one we're going to talk about today is the Thrive Leads. And Thrive Leads is what helps you to create beautiful opt-in forms on your website. So I created a lead group, which is kind of the starting point that we need. And I chose to do a light box, but here are some of the examples of some of the other styles of forms that you can use. You can use something that is called an in-content form. The one we're using, a light box, which is another word for a pop-up. Post footer would give you the option of embedding the form at the bottom of every blog post. That would be the in-content one, I should point out. That would be something that would be used like for a content upgrade, where you might have it embedded inside the blog post, inside the content. You can use it to create a ribbon, which is also known as a hello bar. And that would be a banner that shows at the top of your screen. A screen filler, where it would be like a pop-up, but it would fill the entire screen. I personally don't like those. Those piss me off. I don't use them. Scroll mat, similar, where it would scroll down, fill your entire screen, and then you click on a button for it to scroll back up. A slide in, which I think is kind of the more polite way to do it. Not necessarily the most effective, but it depends on what your objective is and what you're trying to do. Slide in would just kind of slide in from the corner, the bottom corner of your site. And then a form that you can embed in a widget in the sidebar of your website. So the one that I had started with is a light box, and I'm going to delete that post footer one because I don't want to use it. The other thing that I didn't cover that I think is really important is this is where you can track your conversions. You can see how many times there was the number of impressions that people saw this particular opt-in form, and the conversions, meaning how many people actually clicked on it. And then it will give you a conversion percentage. So you can very quickly and easily look at how effective that particular opt-in is. Now, once you're finished designing your Lightbox, you can turn it on to display on your desktop, and you can also turn it on or off to display on mobile. And so displaying on mobile is kind of a touchy thing because Google did start to penalize sites that were using pop-ups that would obscure a site on a mobile device and did not make it easy for the user to close out of it. So depending on how much mobile traffic you get, you may actually choose to use 2 different kinds of opt-in forms. One that is more conducive to your desktop, like a pop-up, and one that would be less intrusive on a mobile device. So that's just a decision that you can make. Okay. Hopefully I didn't delete that. Okay. This is another thing that you can do that I think is really beneficial, which is you can decide whether or not you want this light box to show on all pages, all posts, or only specific pages and posts. So why would you do that? Let's say, for example, you have a content upgrade on a blog post that you wrote. You might want to have a specific pop-up, and the pop-up will only show on that page because that content upgrade, your PDF or your free video series or challenge or whatever, is specifically related only to that content on that post. So you might do that. You may choose to have an opt-in that covers an overall aspect of your business, and maybe that's the one you want to show on your front page and only on the front page. I mean, these are just options that you have. So we're going to leave it where it's going to show everywhere right now. And then what we need to do is click on Edit. And this is where I created the form, and this is where we're going to design the form. I had mentioned before the epic disaster of BeLive that you use the trigger to determine how quickly and how and where the pop-up's going to show. You can show on page load, which I think is obnoxious. You can show after a certain period of time. You can show when they scroll to a specific part of the content. So I had chosen just to say show after 10 seconds when the page loads. And I'm going to save that. Now, here's where we get to the part, this is a long way to get to what I wanted to share with you, which is the design, because so Thrive Leads has always had some very attractive, high converting designs for their light boxes and opt-ins. And so, for example, this was one. So this is a new one that they came up with, which uses round images. And you also can give people two options. Now, of course, I don't know, for many of you, this subscribe now, get our app, you may not have something, but you might want to kind of segment your audience, the people that are coming to your site, and tag them so you know what their interest is. I will tell you, this is not the best one of these designs to do that, but the idea is you can create two options that people can choose, and you can then use their action as far as which one they choose as a way to segment your list, which is brilliant. I mean, that is what we all want to do. We want to know specifically where our new subscribers are at, what their interests are, so you can really, really customize the information. So I really like this one. I liked it more for the design. I don't know that, the example that they give is not necessarily relevant, but the round one is really, really cool. So let's look at a different one. And so I'm going to show you each one of the new ones. Some are better than others, and I'm going to show you, here again, let's pick this one. And, they kind of had different themes going for these. I have, like I said, I kind of have my favorites. This one doesn't do it for me, but it could just be the colors, which obviously you can customize the colors. You just click on these boxes to change the names, the background style. You can change the color of the text right here. So I can go in here and I could change and make it white, look like Yellowstone, and change the font size, the different font style. So, I mean, and I'm not going to do a whole training on this, but I just want to kind of give you an idea that you have a lot of flexibility in how you want to customize it. Now, this is one that uses the option of segmenting, and it's not a full-blown ask 5 questions and get an answer. But I kind of alluded in the first part of the disaster video that I just purchased this morning, a new tool that I'm anxious to try out, and I'll share it with you as soon as I do. It's going to do a little bit more of that. But here's an example where you can choose and have the person choose, what they want. Are they looking forward to seeing wildlife, or are they looking forward to seeing the sunsets? Kind of stupid options, but hey, whatever. And what happens is, say when they click, they're interested in seeing wildlife. Well, then another box is going to come up. There we go. Where they're going to opt in for a specific lead magnet for their interest. And so in the example, it's a wildlife Yellowstone Park guide. And the beauty of this is, once you connect your form to your email service provider, so regardless if you're using MailChimp, ConvertKit, ActiveCampaign, Drip, or Infusionsoft, it does vary depending on which one you're using, but you have the option to either add them to that interest list or tag them as having that interest, so that in the future you can segment and send specific broadcasts and campaigns to people who have been tagged or added to an interest list. Hope that made sense. So there, that would be that example. And let's say if they clicked sunsets, then they would see a different screen. They would receive a guide called Amazing Sunset Spots in Yellowstone Park. So my point in sharing this with you is just showing you a little bit more about some of the beautiful designs, some of the great options that Thrive has. Thrive products, really highly recommend them. Sometimes they're going to be a little challenging for you. However, I will tell you that Thrive has a free university. They not only give you great videos showing you how to use their tools, from a technical standpoint, they also show you great strategies and how their tools fit into your strategy.